Cancer. You know, that word alone, it's probably one of the most feared in the world. And yeah, for good reason. But it's also one of the most misunderstood. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain on this really complex topic. And I promise, by the end of this, you'll have a much clearer picture of what it is, how it works, and what we can actually do about it.
I'm sure you've heard a story like this, right? Maybe you even know someone who did everything right. They ate healthy, they never touched a cigarette, and they still got sick. It's a confusing and, let's be honest, pretty scary situation that just makes you wonder.
So, if a healthy lifestyle doesn't make you immune, what's really going on inside our bodies? That is the big question we're tackling today. So let's just dive right in and find some answers. Okay, so here's our game plan. We'll start with that paradox we just mentioned. Then we'll look at the incredible engine that powers our bodies, our cells. After that, we'll see what happens when that engine breaks down, explore the amazing ways we're fighting back, and wrap up with what you can actually do to lower your risk.
All right, first up, let's tackle this whole paradox head on. Why do some really healthy people get cancer, while others who, live a little more on the edge don't?
There's this huge myth out there that cancer is some kind of punishment for bad habits. But the reality, it's way, way more complicated than that. Sure, smoking and alcohol are absolutely major risk factors, no doubt about it. But they just don't tell the whole story. There are over 200 different types of cancer, each with its own huge range of causes. Okay, so to really get a handle on cancer, we need to take a step back and just appreciate the incredible machine it attacks, our own bodies. So let's zoom in on the actual building blocks of life. Whoa, just look at that number. 36 trillion. That's roughly how many cells are working together inside of you right this second. It's just a mind-boggling number, and every single one of them is its own tiny, complex machine. And if that wasn't crazy enough, get this. Your body is constantly rebuilding itself. Every single day, about 330 billion of your cells get replaced. That's insane. Think about it. With billions of new copies being made every day, there's always a tiny chance for a mistake, a little error to slip through the cracks. So, how does our body even keep up? Well, the answer really comes down to these incredible things called stem cells. Think of them like the master architects and construction crew for your entire body, all rolled into one. They're the source code for everything, and they can become any cell we need: skin, blood, muscle, you name it. They're the engines driving all that constant repair. But this powerful system also has a potential weakness. So we've got this brilliant self-repairing system, right? But what happens when something goes wrong? When a critical error pops up in that system? See, at its very core, cancer starts with our genes. You can think of your genes as the instruction manual for your cells. A mutation is basically just a typo in that manual. Now, a lot of the time, that typo is harmless. But every once in a while, it messes up the most important instruction of all: when to stop growing. And that cell just starts dividing and dividing and dividing.
But here's the amazing part. Our bodies are incredibly smart. They have this built-in three-step defense system. First, you've got your security guard genes. They spot a damaged cell and they hit the brakes, stopping it from growing. Then the mechanic genes swoop in and try to repair the broken DNA. And if the cell is just too far gone, the filter genes give the ultimate command: self-destruct. It's a process called apoptosis. So that raises the million-dollar question, right? What happens when the defense system itself gets damaged? When the security guard is asleep, the mechanic's tools are broken, and the filter is clogged. And that is what cancer is. It's what happens when a cell's brakes are just gone. The safety checks fail, the self-destruct sequence is offline, and the cell goes rogue, growing and dividing without any control, and sometimes spreading to other parts of the body. Okay, but this isn't just a story about biology going haywire. It's also a story of incredible human strength and amazing science. With all the advances in treatment, there's always a story of hope. Let's look at one of them. I want you to meet Chirag. He was diagnosed with a serious blood disorder that put him at a much higher risk for cancer. His only real hope was a stem cell transplant, basically a complete reboot of his body's blood-making system. The odds of finding a matching donor were just 1 in 100,000. But they found one, a man named Roman, all the way over in Germany. Roman donated his stem cells, and Chirag's life was saved. After his recovery, Chirag wrote a letter to Roman, the stranger who saved him, and in it, he said this simple, powerful line: "You are my brother and a hero."
I mean, that just says it all, doesn't it? It's a beautiful reminder of the hope and the human connection that exists even in the middle of the toughest fight. Chirag's story is an amazing example of treatment. But what can we do to try and prevent ever getting to that point in the first place? This last part is all about what's in our hands, what we can control. Okay, take a look at this. The big headline number here is 42%. A staggering 42% of cancer cases are thought to be preventable. That means they're linked to lifestyle and environmental factors that we can actually do something about. This is where we have some real power.
So, what's causing all this gene damage to begin with? Well, you can really break it down into three big buckets. A small chunk, maybe 5 to 10%, is inherited. The biggest factor by far is just aging. As we get older and our cells divide more and more, errors can build up. It's why 90% of cancers happen to people over 50. But that third piece of the pie, lifestyle and environment, that's the crucial 42% where our choices matter.
So, what are the best things we can do? Here are 5 key strategies that really make a difference. Number 1, avoid tobacco and limit alcohol. They are the 2 absolute biggest risks you can control. 2, maintain a healthy weight. 3, protect your skin from the sun. 4, eat a healthy diet, focused on fresh, natural foods. And 5, get vaccinated against viruses like HPV and hepatitis B, which are known to cause cancer. And that really brings us to the final thought here. Look, we can't change the genes we were born with, and we definitely can't stop time. But nearly half of the risk is tied to choices we make every single day. The question isn't whether cancer is scary. It is. The real question is, what choice will you make today to influence the 42% that you can control?